Welcome back to Hannity. The so-called journalists in the mainstream media continue to take their liberal position on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. You won't believe it, but watch this.
Living under the threat of rocket attack is certainly a psychological trauma. But what would you say to those who argue that the rockets are essentially very ineffective, they rarely do damage, and that the response from the Israelis is disproportional to the threat that they're under?
Well, I would say that to the 3 Israeli people who were killed by one of those rockets, the 150 Israelis who have been wounded physically and psychologically by this. These rockets paralyze an entire country. There is no school. People cannot go out of their houses, out of their bomb shelters. Again, that's an utterly intolerable situation for any country.
Now, celebrities in Hollywood who dare challenge the left's agenda, they're also facing a growing backlash after coming out in support of Israel. For example, actor Jon Lovitz is getting bombarded on Twitter because over the weekend he tweeted, quote, "It is very sad that people are getting killed in the Israeli-Hamas conflict," and quote, "It's also sad to hear Americans defend Hamas, a terrorist organization. Israel has a right to defend its citizens." Of course, that sent the left into a tailspin, with many liberals writing back to Lovitz, blaming the conflict on Israel. Lovitz responded to one such tweet by writing, quote, "You're right, Israel started firing rockets at themselves from Gaza. My mistake." Joining me now to talk about what's behind this anti-Israeli sentiment are the president of America Together Foundation, Michael Ghouse, and the news editor for townhall.com, Katie Pavlich. Welcome, both of you. Good to see you.
Good to be here.
Michael,
good to be with you, Sean.
Michael, 8,000 rockets in just the last couple of years fired from Gaza by Hamas, a terrorist organization, into Israeli cities. 8,000. 9,000, depending on which count you use. Now, you give me one good reason. You have always said they need to sit down, talk peace, talk peace, talk peace. You can't talk peace with people that are firing rockets into your country, into your cities day after day. Isn't it time the Israelis just take out the terrorist organization? Give me one reason why not.
Well, first of all, Sean, unequivocally, we condemn the acts of Hamas. Not only as a Muslim, I condemn what they are doing, harassing and terrorizing the civilians in Israel. And I urge the Organization of Islamic Countries to join the Muslims worldwide in protesting against Hamas to stop this nonsense at once. And that is wrong. On the other hand, Israel needs to hold it back too. You cannot have a genocide there, Sean, that will create more wars, more conflicts. We need to stop this ceasefire immediately and get them, both sides, to the table to talk and find a resolution to a conversation
Michael,
rather than killing each other.
Michael, this is coming Egypt. This is coming on the North Lebanon. Israel is now surrounded, and all of this is one big proxy war for Iran anyway. So ultimately, doesn't this mean the Israelis are justified to finally take out the nuclear sites of a country that continues to threaten its very existence?
I do agree with it. President Obama has said that Israel is justified in defending itself. But Sean, justifying is not the right thing to do. What is the ultimate goal? To find security for Israel and justice to the Palestinians. With that goal in the mind, the actions of both Hamas and Israel do not contribute towards that goal. And we need to get them to sit down and talk.
Well, first of all, the way that you have a ceasefire between Hamas and Israel is you tell Hamas to stop firing rockets into Israel. And we had 400 rockets fired into Israel over the weekend. Like you said, Iran has a huge role in this, in funneling arms and funneling weapons to Hamas. And for you to ask that Israel is the one who needs to sit down here, Israel has been more than patient with the Arab Spring. They've seen Arab countries all around them crumble while they sit in the middle. They've seen President Obama tell the Palestinians that they should be able to go back to 1967 borders, and Israel should give up even more land to the Palestinians, who, quite frankly, haven't done a whole lot to take out Hamas, to prevent situations that are going on now.
They elect them.
And, we've mentioned the death toll with the Palestinian people, but, that can be a lesser number if Hamas wouldn't place their rocket launchers in schoolyards and next to mosques where civilians are being used as human shields. It's pretty simple here. Israel has been more than patient.
Michael, you were wrong on the Muslim Brotherhood. Now, to nobody's surprise, Egypt is coming down on Hamas's side. The Turkey Prime Minister is coming down on Hamas's side. Why is there all this tolerance in the Muslim world for terrorism? Why is this always the case?
Sean, we need to go back. We really need to have a full-fledged discussion on it. I mean, what Hamas is doing is wrong, and we condemn it without any doubt.
Why is there tolerance in the Muslim world for terrorism all the time? Why is it always justified away?
Well, because they see that Palestinians are being bulldozed, their rights are being taken out, their homes are being taken out unjustifiably, there are illegal settlements.
Israel's
what
the
do you
victim
do?
of these rockets in their cities. You don't fire rockets in... All right, I'm a little behind. Stay right there. We'll pick it up more with Katie and
both are
Michael.
victims.
Stay right there, Michael. And then the president with the president of America Together Foundation, Michael Ghouse, and the news editor for townhall.com, Katie Pavlich. All right, so I'm asking Michael, why, whenever this happens, there's always support in the Islamic world for the terrorism.
Right.
Why?
You know, I'm not sure, and I think it was Michelle Malkin who pointed out a recent poll that was taken in Indonesia, where 1 of 10 in Indonesia said that it was justified to use violence for jihad. And when you look at the overall Muslim population, that's a lot of people who believe in radical jihad in order to get their ways. And we haven't seen countries like Egypt, of course, because they're run by the Muslim Brotherhood, which is just, you know, an offspring of jihadist groups. You have Jordan falling apart. And of course, you have Iran, who has been very clear about wanting to take Israel off the map. And the fact is, you can't negotiate with not only the Muslim world if they're not willing to even stand up to a terrorist organization, but all of these countries who just want to run Israel into the sea.
You know, Michael, you keep telling me over the years that I have the wrong impression. You told me that Egypt would elect a moderate government. In fact, they went with the Muslim Brotherhood, a terrorist organization. The Iranians keep threatening to wipe Israel off the map. Hamas keeps firing thousands of rockets into Israel. And I don't hear a lot of moderation. You keep telling me it's out there. I don't see it, and I don't hear it. Why?
Sean, just Google it. Muslims have condemned the actions of Hamas continuously.
Who?
Muslims around the world.
Wait a minute. The Prime Minister of
things.
Turkey supports it. The Prime Minister of Egypt supports Hamas. The Iranians are providing the weapons for Hamas. I don't see... The people of Egypt just voted in Sharia and the Muslim Brotherhood, so I have no idea what you're talking about.
I think what they're supporting Hamas is not their actions, but their right to exist, their right to freedom, their right to have their own government.
They're supporting their actions.
That is what...
That's not true. You're wrong.
They don't support their actions. Terrorism is wrong. Shelling rockets in Israel is wrong, and everybody condemns that particular action.
Who in the Muslim world is saying it?
If I'm not mistaken, Michael just said that they're supporting Hamas's right to exist.
A terror group.
A terror group. So are you saying that all of these countries are saying that Hamas has the right to exist when it's a terrorist organization that continues to launch rockets into Israel? We had an unborn child killed last week. And, you know, the Muslim world, maybe we can Google it and find out who's condemning this and who's not. But there's a difference between vocally condemning someone and telling someone to stop, taking action to stop, having Egypt come in instead of supporting Hamas in Gaza, coming in and telling them to stop launching the rockets so they could have a good shot at peace.
Hey, Michael, Hamas still has... Michael, they have a founding charter, Hamas. Their founding charter calls for the destruction of Israel.
Sean, I have read the charter. There is no such thing in the charter. I have read the charter myself.
That's not true.
Have you read it? No, sir. I have read the charter. It is not there.
It absolutely is there.
Driving Israel to the sea is not in the charter.
I didn't say into the sea. Their charter calls for the destruction of the state of Israel. We played it up. We put it on this program for years. It still has never been taken out.
I think it is the Zionism they are opposed to, not Israel. If they did, why are they negotiating with Israel for a two-state solution?
Why are they firing 8,000 rockets into Israel?
Sean, I condemn that. There is no doubt about it.
You condemn
it. But I think they have a right to exist, and Israel needs to recognize them.
So you think Hamas, just so we're clear, you think that Hamas has a right to exist? A terrorist organization, Hamas has a right to exist.
Are you suggesting massacre them, Holocaust them?
I'm suggesting that they stop firing rockets into Israel so that Israel doesn't have to retaliate. Taking out a terrorist organization who has been launching rockets into Israel for months is not genocide, sir.
It is genocide. No, that's what you're suggesting. You cannot kill people.
You want to talk about genocide? Let's talk about who's funding Hamas. That would be the president of Iran, right? Who actually thinks that the Holocaust doesn't exist. He actually wants another genocide and misses Hitler. You want to talk about who's funding Hamas? It's the guy who believes what Hitler believed.
I'm in agreement with Sean Hannity and you on that. But the right for the Hamas to exist, they're democratically elected government. They need to be there. Who do we negotiate? We cannot negotiate with individuals. We need to negotiate with somebody responsible for a population, and that is Hamas. We need to find peace with them. We cannot kill them. It's just not going to happen.
You know what?
Was it
Last question. We saw the Hamas military leader get taken out by Israel. Was that a good thing?
Well, that was the right thing to do, get the bad guy out instead of doing the collateral damage.
It was the right thing to do. Okay, so taking out military leaders who are terrorists is a good thing to do. So you actually agree with Katie and I. But I got to go. Thank you for being with us. Katie, good to see you.
Great to see you.
Coming up.